What's up, friends? My name is Kevin Visay. I'm a singer-songwriter and a producer, and also apparently a YouTuber a little bit, making some reaction videos. And today I'm going to talk about mastering tracks on Logic Pro. I've seen so many terrible videos about mastering on YouTube. Somewhere they're using EQs to master a track, somewhere they're using multipressors, and it makes me feel it's like a little bit uncomfortable. It's not my favorite thing in the whole world. If you have problems with an EQ of a track, you should fix it by looking at the individual tracks, not at the entire mixed track, right? Make sure to subscribe to my channel. I like to make content. If you guys really like this instructional content, if this goes well, I'll probably keep doing this, but so far I've been doing reactions, which go well, and I also put out my own original music. Without further ado, let's get into a track of my own called Elvira. It's out and available. We've got Elvira, which is a track I recently released, and we're going to be mastering it specifically for Spotify. Now, at the time that this video is posted, the current specifications for Spotify are -1 dB true peak and -14 LUFS. Now you might be thinking, what does that mean? The true peak is just the maximum actual decibel level that the track gets to, and the LUFS is the perceived loudness. These specifications change from time to time, so I would double check on that before just, trusting that I'm doing the right thing and mastering your track. Because I had that mistake once where I didn't check that beforehand and I made my track, and guess what? I got screwed. The tracks I posted got overly compressed because Spotify changed their specifications, and it was annoying, but now I do the right thing. So anyway, let's go through each of my plugins I have here, and I'll tell you why I have them. So first off, if you haven't mixed your track, go figure out how to mix it, get it all mixed. Give yourself a little bit of headroom. I would say, -1, -2 dB of true peak on your mix track. So basically just go to like your loudest part of your song or a true peak meter on the master track. And then when you export it, you can check what the true peak is. Okay, we're going to go piece by piece. So first, let's start out with the compressor. Again, this is not a multipressor, this is just a regular old compressor. If you're going to go to sidechain, when you come to your compressor, you're going to have an output. Go to sidechain, detection, max. I actually don't know if I should do max or sum. Filter on, frequency 123, 130, around there. Mode HP. And doing that, you will make sure Q is at 1. Doing that, you will make sure that the bass still cuts through and that it doesn't get overcompressed, because it tends to get overcompressed when you use a compressor, because a lot of what the compressor is picking up is the kick, because the kick and the vocal are the loudest parts of the track in general. As you can see, I like to use the Studio VCA. I find that works well for mastering and vocals. There are a lot of explanations that are very good on compressors online. So I would look one of those up on YouTube. I don't need to make an extra one because it already exists. Generally, when I master a track, I like the threshold to be such that when I'm playing the track in louder parts, let's go to a louder part of the song. As you can see here, I like to keep the meter between 0 and 5. I adjust the threshold accordingly so that it feels the best and feels the most open that it possibly can for this. Now, if we look at the ratio, I like to keep anywhere between 2 and 3. And then the makeup, we'll go over that later. Attack, anywhere between 15 and 20. The amount of attack is how much the sounds of the track get smoothed out. So if you want your sound to be really percussive, I would have a faster attack. If you want it to sound more smooth, I would have a slower attack. A slower attack is a bigger number. A faster attack is a smaller number. The auto for the release part is fine. That works great for Logic for the specific compressor. They have a good release time. It works well for most tracks that you're going to master. So just don't even mess with the release. Just have it on auto. And make sure your auto gain is off. Okay, next on my list, I have an exciter. Now, this is a taste thing. It's something you have to kind of look at by ear. So my exciter I have at about 6 harmonics and about 2300 frequency. That changes from song to song, and whether I use the exciter or not changes from song to song. So what I'll normally do is I'll figure out, just a light excitement. Normally I will toggle the exciter on and off, listening for which way makes the song sound better, which makes it sound more exciting. And more full is the one I'll use. And sometimes an exciter does that for the track, and sometimes it doesn't. This is just basically grabbing stuff from the low end and boosting the effect of it on the high end. It's my basic understanding of an exciter. So we'll put an exciter on that track. Stereo spread. I just go on stereo spread and do light HF spread. This makes it so that the highs spread across the stereo space in a nice way. You don't have to do this step. I find that it creates a more interesting stereo space. Do whatever you want. That the exciter and the stereo spread aren't necessary. You're not necessarily going to have those on every track. That's okay. The ones you're really going to have are the compressor and the adaptive limiter. Now you might have noticed that I have my track set at -1. I don't have it at 0, I have it at -1, and that's because the true peak from Spotify specifications is -1. What an adaptive limiter basically does is it says, hey, we have that, peak, and we're going to keep that as the ceiling. You can mess with that here, but I generally just like to put this at -1, and then I put my out ceiling at 0. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. It's just there. Now for this final step, you put your loudness meter on your output track. It's very important that you put it on the output track, because that way you're picking up all of the plugins that you have right here, right? And then you're going to click start. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bounce your track and see what the LUFS is. I've done this before, and I can do it again though. So bounce. And I'm looking at my overall integrated, right? The LU range. And your overall integrated is at 14 straight up. Now, sometimes it'll be a little bit off. And what I like to do is I start with the compressor, and I want my loudness to come from the compressor first, just because I think it sounds better. I may be tripping, but in my opinion it does. So I start with the compressor, and I adjust this bad boy right here, the makeup, to be wherever it needs to be to get the LUFS as close as possible. And then I do that last little bit between 0 and 0.5 LUFS on this, on the gain, on the adaptive limiter. So watch if I set this to 0, and then I set this on the compressor to 3. And then I bounce my track, right? Yeah. You're going to watch that the integrated LUFS is actually lower than it was before. See, it's 0.8 lower, which is exactly by how much we lowered it, right? I take it back to 3.5. I take this back to 0.3. And then it'll, from now on, be a 14.0 integrated. If you have any questions, make sure to comment them, and I'm more than willing to answer. I feel like I've explained everything well, but it's possible that I didn't. That's mastering a track for you. Don't put a multipressor on it. That's foolishness. There are also some really good online applications like higher plugins that people swear by and that do a really good job at mastering. I don't have any of those plugins, so I don't use them. I just use the Logic ones. And people have told me that my mastering sounds good. So, you know what? Screw everyone else. That's it. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. New album coming out October 5th. Excited for that. Hope you guys are excited for it as well. And yeah, that's all I got. Catch you on the flip.